Welcome to today's Explainer. We are jumping right in to explore the biographies of some truly extraordinary individuals. We're going to look closely at figures who have left an absolute indelible mark on our world. Whether you're looking for a spark of creativity, a lesson in resilience, or just a literal masterclass in courage, analyzing the lives of these giants gives us a phenomenal roadmap to greatness.
So, the source text we're looking at groups these amazing people into one unified theme, fittingly titled Unit 1 Life Stories We Admire. And by studying people from wildly different backgrounds, we start to extract these universal qualities of greatness. Plus, we aren't just learning history here. We're actively improving our comprehension skills. We're learning how to synthesize raw information from various sources to build a really compelling narrative about human achievement.
Okay, let's dive into our roadmap for today. We'll be covering life stories we admire, Steve Jobs, visionary innovator, Walt Disney, cultural icon, heroes of bravery and service, and finally, lessons from admirable lives.
Part 1. Steve Jobs, Visionary Innovator.
Now, pulling a timeline out of the source material is actually a really crucial academic skill, and doing so lets us map his early journey perfectly. For example, he was adopted in 1955. Then, a massive pivotal moment arrives in 1971 when he meets Steve Wozniak, who totally shared his deep passion for electronics. And just a few years later, in 1976, they officially start Apple Computers. Laying out information chronologically like this is super helpful because it reveals the crucial cause and effect of life events.
But hold on, think about what happened right before that 1976 milestone. The source text highlights this incredibly powerful anecdote about their humble beginnings. To get enough money just to start their business, it required literal, painful sacrifice. Steve Wozniak actually sold his calculator, and Steve Jobs sold his van. It's a fantastic reminder that the massive global tech giants we know today almost always start with deep personal commitment and just sheer persistence.
Moving on to Part 2, Walt Disney, cultural icon.
Now, what's really interesting here is how we handle multiple accounts of someone's life. Organizing those facts into clear buckets, things like childhood, achievements, family, and legacy, makes the whole narrative highly digestible. Categorizing raw facts into a structured, cohesive biography like this helps us see the real man behind the myth. He was a person who grew up with siblings, attended school, built a family, and ultimately built a studio that long outlived him.
And man, those achievements are absolutely staggering. The text details these massive cultural milestones, from the creation of Mickey Mouse and classic films like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, all the way to legendary masterpieces like The Lion King and Beauty and the Beast. Synthesizing these individual successes is what truly tells the story of a global cultural icon. It showcases a lifetime totally dedicated to the art of imagination.
Part 3. Heroes of Bravery and Service.
This is where we see such a fascinating and beautiful contrast between two distinct but equally admirable paths of service. On one hand, you have General Vuong Nguyen Giap, a military genius who led his army through highly complex campaigns spanning from 1946 to 1975, and he lived a long life until 2013. Then, juxtapose that with Vo Thi Sao, a young national hero who bravely carried out attacks in 1948 but was tragically killed at Can Son Prison in 1952 at a very young age. Both of these lives show us that greatness can be found in decades of strategic leadership or in a brief, intensely courageous spark of youth.
Which brings us to another incredible story of wartime service. Meet Dang Thuy Tram. She was a young surgeon working in a field hospital during the war, and her poignant life story was miraculously preserved through her diary, which gives us this highly personal, deeply moving window into the harsh realities of her sacrifice.
She was remembered as a national hero for, quote, devoting her youth and whole life to saving other people's lives during the war. And what makes her biography even more remarkable is how we even know about it. Her diary was actually found by an American soldier, and instead of destroying it, he saved it. Miraculously, more than 3 decades after her tragic death at just 27 years old, a copy was returned to her mother. Since then, it's been published in over 16 languages. It's just a timeless, global testament to her selflessness.
Part 4, Lessons from Admirable Lives.
So what does this all mean for us? Well, it comes down to these core lessons. From Steve Jobs, we learn the immense power of vision and persistence. From Walt Disney, we see how creative storytelling builds a lasting global legacy. And from heroes like General Giap, Vo Thi Sao, and Dang Thuy Tram, we are completely humbled by immense bravery, national service, and the ultimate sacrifice for others.
Whether we're analyzing a tech visionary, an animator, or wartime heroes, studying these structured lives significantly deepens our appreciation for what humanity can actually achieve.
And that brings us to the most important part of today's explainer, you. We've used our analytical skills today to break down these monumental historical figures. But, inspiration is deeply personal. So I'm going to leave you with this question to chew on. Who is a figure that inspires your life story? Think about how you would categorize their timeline, their achievements, and their legacy. Thank you so much for joining me today. Keep learning, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.